Greetings everybody, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to the last Richard's Rock Rambles for 2025. Yeah, it's hard to believe, but another year is just about done and dusted. I don't quite know where these years go to, but they certainly go. So what am I going to chat about? Well, recently I went to Cape Town. I actually went to two vinyl fairs. The first one in Cape Town, the big one at the V&A waterfront. It goes on from about 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, although I think this time it was a day-long affair. And then the other one was just on the road here, about 500, 600 meters from where I stay. And I picked up some good stuff at the waterfront one. Problem being, when I went to the one here, all those traders I'd already seen at the waterfront. So yeah, it was pretty much the same product that I was seeing. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Still got to meet a whole bunch of buddies that I haven't seen for a long time. As I've said before, it's the only time I get to meet these guys is at these vinyl fairs, after not having seen them for many, many months. So I've got some good stuff. Two that one that I've been wanting for many years, and another one which I guess many people would think, sheesh, Paul, you don't have that in your collection? And it's a band, in fact, that I only have one other of their albums, and I should have many more, but I'll get there. So let's get stuck in, shall we? First one, British band, blues rock band. And I must say, this album for me is a little bit different. It's not as bluesy as some of the others. In fact, there's a lot more laid-back sort of country style almost to this album. And I'm waffling on about the band 10 years after Alvin Lee and Company, of course, Alvin Lee being the guitarist, and the album called A Space in Time. So this was one of them I got at the waterfront. And like I said, I've only given this one quick cursory listen. I'm going to go back to it and give it another couple of listens. There's some good tracks on here. One of These Days, Over the Hill, Baby or Let Me, Rock and Roll You, that's probably the rockiest track on the album. Let the Sky Fall, Hard Monkeys. Of course, it's the usual lineup: Alvin Lee, guitar and vocals, Leo Lyons on bass, Rick Lee on drums, Chick Churchill keyboards. Just want to see if there's any guests on here. No. Where was this produced? Who produced this? Producer. Of course, it doesn't say. Any case, really good album. I need to give it another couple of listens though. I've always enjoyed Alvin Lee's guitar style. Most people know him, of course, from his spotted Woodstock when he walked off with a big watermelon on his shoulders. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he may have left soon after this album. I might be completely wrong. This came out in 1971, 2. Let's just have a look. There's nothing inside to show you. Of course, there's no date. It's early 70s anyway. No date. So there we go. Humble pie, some blues rock with a bit of a country vibe thrown in with this one. A Space in Time. Next up, a band that I have got quite a few on vinyl. In fact, I'm starting to collect just about all of them now. They are still a going concern, but of late their music's gone totally into jazz. In the early days, they were more known as a progressive rock band with a unique style. And if I tell you that their biggest hit had yodeling in it, then you know what I'm waffling on about. The band from Holland, Focus, and this one is called Mother Focus. Rather strange cover. I'm not quite sure what's meant to be going on there, but anyway, the music is what matters, and these guys are always interesting for me anyway. Elements of jazz, progressive rock, obviously. This one is a little bit more mellow though than some of the earlier ones. Mother Focus. I love the title of this next track. I Need a Bathroom. There we go. Guy needs a toilet. Benny Helder, Soft Vanilla, Hard Vanilla, and then Tropic Bird. And then Focus 4 is on the first track on side 2. Someone's Crying, All Together, No Hang-Ups, My Sweetheart, and Father Bach, traditional arranged and adapted by Thijs van Leer. Thijs van Leer, of course, is the keyboardist, flautist, and vocalist on Mother Focus, because there's not really vocals in Focus's music. It's pretty much instrumental. Thijs van Leer does do these strange noises and sounds like the yodeling, so it's a little different. I think there is actually proper singing on this one though. And then of course the great Jan Akkerman on guitars, very underrated guitarist in my eyes. Guy called Bert Reiter on bass guitars, vocals on I Need a Bathroom, so he does the vocals on that track. Yes, that's the track with the lyrics. David Kemper on drums, and then Colin Allen, whoever he is, drums on I Need a Bathroom. 1975 release, and engineered by Eric Prestige, whoever he is. That's the back. At the bottom there you can see photographs of the guys. So yeah, Mother Focus from Focus. Is there anything inside? Nope, this is a bog standard single cover, no gatefold to show. Right, we move on to Canada, and this band, a very good friend of mine, late friend of mine, he passed away sadly in 2018, I think it was. Leonard Economides, the big name here in South Africa on radio, DJ'd on a number of stations. One of the bands that he was always into was a band from Canada called Lighthouse. A lot of brass in their music, all sorts of styles. Some nice guitar work, lots of percussion, and this was a big band. I think, let me just count here, 3, 6, 10 guys in the band. And this is their live album from 1972, I think this was. Simply called Lighthouse Live, and there you can see there's the big band standing outside a building, probably the place where they played. And that's the back. And if I open it up, there's some nice photographs of the band in the live situation and in the studio and what have you. So who are the guys in the band? Let me just have a sip of wine here. Cheers everybody, and it's coming up to Christmas here, so I hope you guys have a safe and festive Christmas. Look after yourselves. We're going to have a very low-key one here. I'm not going anywhere near the roads this time of the year. There's too many crazies out there. Nothing like a nice Merlot in the evening. Anyway, back to the guys in the band. Skip Prokop, say that name very carefully. He's on drums, percussion and vocals. He's actually the main vocalist within the band, and I think he passed away a couple of years back. Paul Hoffert on vibes, keyboards and congas. Rolf Cole on guitar and vocals. Bob McBride, lead vocals and percussion, so he's the lead vocalist, although I think Skip Prokop also does a lot. Don Davino on electric violina, Richard Arman on electric cello, Louis Yaknan on bass, Larry Smith trombone and vocals, Howard Shaw sax, flute and vocals, and John Naslin trumpet. Jeez, these guys must have had a massive wage bill for all this big band. How do you split wages like 10 ways in a band, you know? I'm surprised he's stuck together for so long. I'm not sure if they're still going. They might be. But a really interesting sound. I suppose the closest you could compare them to would be a band like Chicago. It's that kind of vibe. There's a bit more, I suppose, orchestration with this, with the cellos and everything else in it. But definitely along those lines. And this I have only listened to once. But there's some great tracks on here. I'm just trying to see if I can... I love these albums that don't even give you the damn track listings. So now I've got to pull out the album. Sweet Lullaby, 8 Miles High. Yes, they do a brilliant version of that famous Birds track. I think the other version I really enjoy is Golden Earrings, but this one is excellent, and that's quite a long track on here. It's 13 minutes and 40 seconds. I Just Want to Be Your Friend, Old Man, and Rocking Chair. That's on side 1 and 2. And then we get, I must say these records are in pretty good nick too. Take It Slow, One Fine Morning, Insane. Followed up by, that's actually side 4. Side 3 is 1849, You and Me. Also 2 long tracks, 6 and 8 minutes. And that's the live album. Really well recorded too for the time. And yeah, I quite enjoy this band. So I'm going to probably try and find a few of their studio albums. It's quite different starting off with a live one, but I've heard such a lot about this. And Leon was always raving about this on his show, and he played this quite a few times, and I quite enjoyed it. So when I saw it at the vinyl fair, and I got this for a fairly good price. I think this was $80 for a double album. So I grabbed it. And yeah, that's another thing about these fairs, you know, you can bring down the price of things. Guys are prepared to haggle. I mean, a sale's a sale, you know. This was in 1972, yes. Recorded live at Carnegie Hall, the famous Carnegie Hall, New York City, February the 6th, 1972. So if you haven't checked this band out before, maybe if that Chicago sort of brass rock vibe is what you're into, Lighthouse, another band to check out. Then we get to the 2 albums that I mentioned right at the beginning, the one I've always been after, and the one is a band that I should have more of. And the band that I should have more of is a band that's fairly well known. I mean, I think most of you guys should know this band. I'm being really facetious here. Of course, it's the Beatles. Now, the thing with the Beatles and why I probably never started collecting them was I only really knew them for their poppier side. You know, the early albums like Help and, you know, the first 2, whatever. Not really my thing. As great as the songs were, and I mean, they became iconic, excellent band, songwriting to die for, I just found it a little lightweight. Later on, when they started to experiment a bit and broaden their horizons, that's the Beatles I enjoy. And this was definitely one of those albums. Some excellent stuff on here. And this would actually be their final album, even though Let It Be came out afterwards. But by that stage, the band had already called it quits and everybody had buggered off in different directions. But there's some classics on here. Come Together. With that great drum sound from Ringo Starr. You know, a lot of people don't realize what an amazing part he had to play within the Beatles. Something, a very strange track with some dodgy lyrics if you listen to it. Maxwell's Silver Hammer. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Oh Darling. And then we get to the song which features Ringo Starr on vocals. Octopus's Garden. Just a fun track. I love it. It's quirky. I Want You, She's So Heavy. That's side 1. Then you get Here Comes the Sun, another massive hit. Such a beautiful track that. Because You Never Gave Me Your Money, Sun King, Mean Mr. Mustard, also different. Polyethylene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers. I mean, if that track doesn't move you, it's just beautiful. Carry That Weight, and The End. So I reckon if I'm going to carry on collecting the Beatles, I mean, if I could, sometimes these guys, they price them to the max. I mean, this is second hand, and I think I picked this up a really good price as well. It was kind of marked down. I mean, the record itself had a lot of dust on it and that, but I've given it a good clean and it plays perfectly. You know, it's, what more do you want? Plus, it came with the original posters. Yeah, so there's old, that's Paul, of course, there's Ringo, and you open it up, and there's old John with his specs, and George Harrison. So this was something you got originally when you bought the album. I'm not sure if it's been reissued like this. This is somebody's original copy, obviously. I was quite chuffed with that. So there we go. That'll go in there. So yes, only my second Beatles. The other one I have is that disastrous live album where you put it on and all you can hear is girls screaming. You can't even hear the band. It was a disaster. I mean, it doesn't matter how you mix that thing. Well, I don't think it was mixed at all. It's just screaming. You can sort of hear the band playing, and that's another reason why they gave up touring, because they got so tired of it, you know, girls screaming and going crazy. But anyway, Abbey Road, I finally have in my grubby paws by the Beatles. Classic stuff. And then finally, this is a new album. Well, it was a new pressing. Now and again, I treat myself to new records because over here in SA, new records cost a pretty penny because of our exchange rate. Everything is imported, hence the price going up. Until one day, hopefully, if we ever get factories built here again, but it doesn't look like it. So it's going to stay that way, I think. And this is an iconic album from a gentleman who launched so many careers. The gentleman that he launched on this one, or he gave a really step up, Eric Clapton. He also gave Mick Taylor some time in his band, gave him a helping hand, as well as Peter Green, and that should give it away, as well as John McVie, the bassist. Of course, I'm talking about John Mayall, and this is a famous album called John Mayall's Blues Breakers, featuring Eric Clapton, also otherwise known as the Beano album. There we go. There's a everybody should know, worth their salt should know that cover. So there's John McVie, the bassist. There's Eric Clapton reading the Beano magazine, looking very bored. There's John Mayall, and the drummer, whose name I can never remember, Huey Flint. And he didn't play drums on all the tracks. He played tracks on 1, 2, 3, 6, and 12. Some of them I think are a bit more acoustic. On the famous Decca label, this goes back to 1966. Yeah, when that big blues boom was happening in the UK. And there's the whole story in the back. So this is a brand new, fresh out of the box release. The sound is incredible. I mean, if you consider this is 1966, and they've really done this up nicely. And it's hard cardboard cover. It's just great stuff. Now and again, you gotta spoil yourself. This was sort of a pre-Christmas present to myself. Of course, there's some classics on here, blues classics. All Your Love, Willie Dixon, Hideaway, Little Girl. That's a John Mayall track. His vocals here are very high. I didn't realize they got so high. And of course, some nice guitar work, great guitar work from Eric Clapton. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm not the world's biggest Eric Clapton fan. A lot of his solo stuff leaves me stone cold, but he shines on here, as he did with Cream, as he did with Derek and the Dominoes. A lot of his solo stuff, nah. But that's just me. You guys might have a different opinion. Another Man, Double Crossing Time, What I'd Say. Then on side 2, it's Key to Love, the famous Parchment Farm, which has been done by so many people. If you want to hear another really good version of that track, check out the band from the States called Cactus. In particular, their live version of Parchment Farm, Smoking. Really good on here too. Have You Heard, another John Mayall track, Rambling on My Mind, which is a Robert Johnson track. What I'd Say, the previous side was actually Ray Charles's track. Stepping Out, and It Ain't Right. Yeah, so glad I got this. And I paid something ridiculous. I paid, it wasn't even that much if you consider how much a lot of the imports go here. 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000 rand. I got this for 400. In fact, it was dropped. It was 450, and a very nice guy by the name of Gary Whiteman said to me, what the hell, it's Christmas, I'll drop $50. I said, thank you very much. Fantastic sound, classic blues, British blues. An essential album in anybody's collection, in my view. And it's taken me many years to get my grubby hands on it, finally. So I've got this one, and I think previously I got the one with Peter Green, John Mayall with Peter Green. Very different style of guitarists, both excellent. So there we go, that's all I got from my 2 visits. As I said, the second one was a bit of a disappointment because I'd already seen the traders at the first one. But it was just nice to catch up with everybody. There we go, folks. Please, like I said, have yourselves a safe and festive Christmas. If you see this and it's after Christmas, sentiment is still there. And next video will be in 2026. So have yourselves a safe and New Year's Eve. Take it easy. And if all else fails, stick on a record, stick on a CD. That'll put a smile on your face. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Please, any comments down below, always welcome. Great to hear from you. And yeah, look after yourselves. I'll see you in the new year. Cheers.